Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to see how we can write the content in a given file. So let us see how we can do that. So for writing we in a file, we need to open the file in the write mode. Here is a notable difference between the read mode, that is the R, and the write mode, which is denoted by W. If the open function in the read mode tries to open a non-existing file on the disk, then it gives an error. But with open function in write mode, it first creates a file and then open it for writing if the file does not exist previously on the disk. Now this particular illustration we have seen in the introductory video of our file handling. Now let us see how we can actually perform writing on a file. So for writing in a file, we are going to open the file, that is my file name, with the mode W, right? And we have seen that the W is going to overwrite the content of the file. So you can see that on my desktop there is a file with name my file, and let me just open it and see the content, what is written in the file. So let me just delete this one and let me just write any content, that is a simple one, my name in the file, and save it. Right, so I have written the name in my file and saved it, and here I am opening this particular file in the write mode. Now what my work is, first of all, what I am going to do is, let me just write something in my file, and for that I will be making use of the file handler fp and will be making use of the write function. Now this write function is going to take a string as an argument, that is which we are going to write it into our file. So I'm going to write hi, enjoy learning, right? So this is my string that I want to enter into the file now, right? And after that I just want to print a statement which is going to say write successful, right? So after getting that write successful, I'm going to write this particular print statement, right? One subtle difference that is to be noted over here is that this is going to be written in the file and this print statement is going to print on the console, right? So this you are going to see here and this is going to be there in the file. Now so if I run the code now, you can see that the write successful is now been printed. Now this means that this content Anjali Sharma, which is there on my file, should now be overwritten by hi enjoy learning, right? So that was the difference, that when we open a file in write mode, it actually overwrites the content. Now in order to verify that it is written in this file only, now let me just copy this statement and print it over here, and now I'm going to open it in the read mode, right? And what I'm going to do over here is I will be just making the text as a variable, the file pointer, and in this I will be calling the read function, right? And here I'm going to print the text so that I can actually verify that content is actually been written in my file. So you can see that I enjoy learning has been read from the file and it is now printed on the screens. So that was a basic small example in which we have seen that how we can write something into a file. Now coming to another function which is known as write lines. Now remember the spelling, we have seen the read lines function and that was corresponding something related to list, and here also write line method or write line function is going to work with the structure which is list. So here I am going to let me initialize a list, and in the list what I will be doing is I will be writing certain things, means a small string I will be, so in the list I will be writing a small string, say hi, enjoy learning, and this time I need to change it a little bit because this is the statement that I have written already. So learning Python, and just pay attention that here I have given a little space after each string, right? So now what this write line functions does, so for the file handler you need to call the write lines function, and over here you will be passing the list as the argument, right? And after that there will be a print statement which is going to see that write is successful, right? And let me just clear the screen and now run this code. Right, so if I run the code now, you can see on the screen it is printed that the write is successful, and we can go to my file and you can see that hi enjoy learning is now been printed on the screens, right? And remember it is separated by a space. Now one more thing that we can do over here is we can replace this space by a slash n. Slash n is an escape sequence that stands for new line, right? So in place of space, this time I have given a slash n. And if I run the code, the write is again successful. And if I close the file and now reopen it, and you can see that everything is now written in the next line. Now that was a small description of how we can actually write anything into our file. Now let us go back to our slides and see what examples are we are going to try during. Now, let us go back to our slides and see what examples are given there for writing in a file. So the first example that here we are going to see is write a Python program to read an integer from one file and write its square in the another. Right? So this is a very common example in file handling. Now let us program this in Python. So in order to solve this program, let me just go back to my desktop and create two new files, right? So the first one will be a text file with the name, let's say file 1, and in this I will be writing an integer, let's say 5, and just save it right now. And I will be creating another file with name file 2, and this is going to be an empty file, and I'm going to write the square of it into this, right? So going back over here, now what I want to do is read the content from the first file, right? So I will be just editing the name of my file as file 1, right? And opening it in read mode, right? What I'm going to do is I will be taking an integer known as num, and in this I will be calling fp dot read, right? So the content of my file is now into this particular file, right? So now what I need to check is what is the type of this integer before actually calculating the square of it. So what I'm going to do is to cross check it with type num, and here I'm going to print it, and you can see that the type of num over here is a string. That means I need to typecast it into, let's say, a new variable, say new num is equal to int num, right? So I have now actually typecasted it into an integer. Now the next thing is to calculate the square of this term. So s, let me take sqr as a variable, and here I will be calculating the square of it. So that will be new num multiplied by 2. This is the square of it, right? The next thing which I'm going to do is to open up another file with the same with keyword. Just copy it and paste it over here, and 2, right? So now I have opened the another file over here, and here I will be making use of FP as the same handler, and this time I'm going to write the value of SQR in the file, right? Let's say another sort of file handler, and this time I will be just uncommenting this particular statements, right? And what I'm going to do over here is run the code now, and you can see that it has actually run successfully. So what I need to do is to go back to these files and just open the content of this file, and you can see that 5 is now been printed in as its square in file number 2. So that was the simplest example in which we have actually written a number into one file, created a square of it, and then replaced it into the another file. So that was a small lecture in which we have seen how we can write the content in a file, and we have seen a simple example of that as well. I hope you enjoyed this lecture, and for more such lectures, do watch my channel, and thanks for watching.